Welcome to Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight. My name is Pete Wright, and I am joined today by a new voice to the show, although at least he's still a Jeff. Jeff Bodem, BA Insight's Director of Business Development for North American Legal Markets. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thank you, Pete. It's great to be here.
We're going to be talking about the evolution of legal technology today. Jeff has spent the last 20 years with leading organizations, specifically helping to drive technology solutions in the field of law. He joined BA Insight last year as part of the company's commitment to the legal industry. We've talked a little bit about what we do related to the law on the show in the past, but today we're going to start a conversation in a much greater level of depth over coming episodes, and you are the right guy to talk about why we are serving this field. Can you kick us off a little bit? During your career, how have you seen legal technology evolve, Jeff?
Sure. So I think I should start with a disclaimer that I'm neither an attorney or IT guy, but I've spent my career bringing very smart groups of people together to address problems and then work together to create solutions. Having worked in the legal industry for nearly 2 decades, I've seen our industry undergo significant changes over the past 20 years. I think we need to kind of take a step back and keep in mind, for over 200 years, or almost really since its inception, the practice of law virtually hadn't changed. I mean, case law and statutes and other secondary sources were printed in books. Law firms had extensive libraries that they showcased within their firms, and really a major shift didn't occur until the late 70s. When LexisNexis introduced online legal research, and legal technology accelerated from there. So as a result, an industry was born. It's a $3 billion legal technology arms race, if you will, and growing. That's
fascinating because it seems so much like, up until that point, before that 1979 LexisNexis introduction, we have this space where the size of the firm's library was a dependent factor in their success. Would that be a good case?
Yeah, in fact, that was one of the first places they would take you within the firm, is to come and showcase their library and how big and extensive it was, and as we kind of move on, and as I say today, if you want to thrive in today's world, you better get techie, and today lawyers are no exception. Today's successful lawyers are both a legal expert and at the very least a technology enthusiast. I can remember looking back at my start with LexisNexis in 1996, working with some of the young associates at that time, and looking back, and the people that possess those skills today are some of the firm's biggest rainmakers, practice area chairs, and in some cases managing partners.
So with this change in technology over the last several years, what are some of the challenges that law firms are facing as they continue to evolve with technology?
I've had the opportunity to work with companies that were involved in each step of this journey. I've worked for an information services provider. I had also worked for a consulting firm, and finally a product company here at BA Insight. In terms of the information provider, there were really only 2 choices. It was LexisNexis or Westlaw, now Thomson Reuters. So you had one or the other or both. So the market was pretty well established, still pretty highly competitive. Significant technology investments were another story. Keep in mind, law firms are made up of equity partners, and a dollar spent is a dollar out of their pocket. So there was some hesitation to really invest in technologies over the last few years. In many cases, firms were getting by with small IT staff, in some cases limited resources, and also working with some IT consulting firms kind of on some homegrown systems. And a lot of times these homegrown systems cost the firm more than software that was currently available. A good developer can also cost about 6 figures for a law firm. Many times on those projects, the things that they were building, they either didn't work or they didn't do what they expected it to do. They were reliant on that particular artist. You had to keep and retain that artist. And once they brought somebody in new, they would want to do things differently. So those projects kind of became obsolete quickly, and in worst case, failed a lot of times. So we fast forward to today, that debate is over. It's choosing and implementing the right software application and determining really which innovations and companies to bet on. And that brings us to the current situation where, A good CIO, knowledge management officers, and technology teams are highly valued in the firms. They now have a seat at the table in driving initiatives to improve the quality of work, deliver better services, and the ability to increase productivity, to cut costs, and increase revenues in the firm are very important.
So when you look at it, you walk into a law firm today, what sorts of challenges are these law firms and the lawyers going to be faced with in their current, technology environment? I'm thinking specifically about, the individual associate who's trying to get up to speed and to your point, they're challenged with legacy systems, they're challenged with, figuring out how to work all these things and make them all work together. Can you describe what those challenges look like?
Certainly. So, in addition to having to be experts in the law, these challenges are faced with working in all of these different disparate systems across the firm. I was talking with a CIO colleague of mine earlier this week, and we were discussing, the average attorney is utilizing about 6 to 7 different enterprise systems a day. They're touching things like their document management system, their time and billing, CRM, they're using Lexis or Westlaw case management tools. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and they're managing, but it's pretty overwhelming and obviously highly inefficient use of their time. And as you know, for a lawyer, time is money. This isn't a new problem. For years, firms have looked for best tools to use for kind of a unified information access platform, if you will. There were some early attempts at doing this and solving this problem, such as the Plumtree portal and others, but it was costly and required a tremendous amount of IT development and support.
So then what has emerged as a leader? If I think back to, my days in grad school, and I did not go to law school, but I remember there was a huge rift that all of my friends who were in the law program were all celebrating WordPerfect. Why are we not all using WordPerfect?
That's a great example. Not surprisingly, Microsoft really emerged as the clear leader in this space. So over the past 10 years or so, law firms, were kind of really pushed by their corporate clients to use this as the Microsoft suite continued to grow. And that, like I said, that's a great example because we had a number of firms still using WordPerfect, and Word finally won that battle because, they must conform to really what their corporate clients' needs were. So, as we talk about Microsoft then, although we here at BA Insight are search engine independent, Microsoft SharePoint became the clear leader as a collaboration and portal solution in the legal industry. In fact, it's upwards of 80% or so of the largest firms are utilizing SharePoint as their intranet tool of choice.
How are they using SharePoint? I mean, I guess the question is, where does BA Insight come into the picture? But given the number of different industries that are using SharePoint and the level of customization we've talked about on this very show, how does SharePoint solve the problems of the legal industry?
Yeah, what we do is, SharePoint itself really doesn't, I think, solve what they're looking for. What we do here at BA Insight, though, is we build upon that. We take SharePoint out of the box and we really push and enhance its capabilities. We continue to innovate the offerings, to create kind of a more efficient and easy to use tool. In my opinion, the greatest advantage of taking SharePoint is creating kind of a familiar and easy to use internet-like experience of their favorite websites, which have set the bar. If we think about what those websites might be, you think about Amazon or TripAdvisor. Again, addressing the legal professional needs, I want to know something that's familiar to me that I don't have to learn another system, so I can spend less time searching and more time lawyering. I think a great example of that is a knowledge management officer I was speaking to. They said every time that they have a focus group meeting or they talk about their portal and how they can enhance that, the thing that's most often heard is, why can't we simply make this like Google? And that's exactly what we're working on and what we're doing here at BA Insight.
That gets us back to this sort of consumerization of enterprise technology. This is what I know when I'm sitting in my kitchen computer. Why can't it work this way at my multi-million-dollar firm? So let's talk more specifically about then the how the technologies work together. I mean, the complexity of tying together all of these systems, I imagine, has to be quite a mountain to climb.
Certainly. So as I'm sure you guys have talked about on these before, BA Insight has currently about 60 enterprise system connectors at last count and growing. What we do is we take these connectors, we provide a secure, high-performance crawling and indexing environment. When it comes to law firms, what we've done is we've also built some very legal-specific connectors. So all the major enterprise systems, iManage, NetDocs, Elite, Aderant, interaction are all available to law firms, as well as some of the SQL database connectors, collaboration tools like Confluence and Yammer. We take these and then we provide kind of a single search interface, if you will. We bring in that content from multiple sources or enterprise systems, and we enhance the user experience by integrating some of those things that we see in those websites that we like. Some of those features are, if you're on Amazon and you're searching for a TV or something, that type ahead feature that's suggesting terms for you, the ability to kind of search and refine that left pane where you're seeing, okay, these are the categories, these are things you might be looking for. The ability to quickly preview a document, and more. So these are some of those favorite consumer websites and what they have, what they're used to. And, it's familiar, it's intuitive, and it truly is, like you said, the consumerization of legal technology. One thing we've done, though, is we've also taken it a step further, and we'd like to keep them there in this place and have them be able to also do their legal research. So we've built integrations with LexisNexis and Thomson Reuters with Lexis Advance, WestKM, and we allow them to perform their research in there and also be able to pull in their internal documents and see if it's still relevant case law and easily preview those documents through things like Shepard's and Keysight, kind of all in one search. On several occasions, a number of our applications have in fact been created working side by side with our law firm clients. I can think of one example, working with DLA Piper, on an alternate fee agreement product called Matter Comparison and another called Expertise Locator, which have directly translated to higher profits and increased revenues for law firms.
Well, I imagine, just straight up associate satisfaction, right? I mean, when they don't have to work so hard to get the information that they need.
Absolutely.
So what are they looking for, right? We've mentioned this consumerization of legal technology, twice now. What is it that makes something effectively consumerized in this space and still, makes it highly sort of profitable in terms of time and efficiency?
I can remember as things have evolved and I looked at, how these attorneys are working in this space, I like to kind of think of it as a fighter pilot's cockpit, if you will. Everything is laid out in front of you, your instruments, your throttle, your heads up display. In this particular case, if I'm an attorney, I want a one-stop shop of knowledge that's specific to me. I want something that's relevant to me. I want to be delivered customized content based on my user profile of what I need. I want it to be proactively informing me intelligently about, content when I need it. And finally, I want it to be able to be interactive with me. I want it to recognize who I am, my patterns, my habits, make suggestions based on my search patterns on, things that might be relevant to me or people that might be able to help me within my firm.
Many of the tools that you've referenced already are highly specialized for the legal industry. BA Insight does not just work for the legal industry. What is it that your clients in the legal industry get excited about in terms of what BA Insight has to offer?
Yeah, so I think, one aspect that makes BA Insight attractive to me is they don't solely focus on the legal market. In fact, it's really only about a third of our business. But we've already got an impressive list of, AmLaw 200 firms as clients. And that's not common in this industry. Other players in the space really focus solely on law firms, which frankly I view as a strategic disadvantage. They're often born from kind of legacy software systems. And in many cases, they're not really optimized in the firm. In contrast, what we have is, we have over 3 million users worldwide using BA Insight every day for some, from some of our largest global corporations. This allows us to kind of take those best practices from other industries. Many times these law firms own clients and create some really cool and innovative award-winning solutions for the legal industry.
At this point, we'll ask you to put on your fortune-telling hat. If you're given the pace of change, the slow pace of change leading up to the very rapid pace of technology change in the legal industry, I imagine that these major firms are poised and ready for change over the coming, let's say, 2 years. What are the big trends that you see on the horizon that firms are preparing for, right now?
Sure. I would say there are really about 4 trends that stand out to me, and there are other industries that have already adopted these or looking into them. One of the things about law firms is they tend to be a little bit more cautious. So some of the things, and they tend to be more innovative in some ways. So 4 trends that I really see kind of standing out for law firms over the next, year or two are certainly mobile. cloud migration. I think analytics is going to be a big thing for firms, and certainly, all the buzz right now is about AI. So, as we talk about kind of on the mobile front, in this context, mobile means the SharePoint mobile app. Whether you're using your Android or your iPhone, the functionality and performance are very similar. These apps are going to allow attorneys to practice law anytime, from anywhere, and really improving quality of life for the attorney, also improving client engagements and satisfactions. I see an accelerated movement to the cloud. Firms have dragged their feet a bit on this front, due to some security concerns, but, more law firms will make that move to the cloud in the next year or two. It's efficient, it's affordable over the long term. And, I go back to, these are equity partners. They see the long-term benefit of this.
Seems like there's a cultural change too. Like you mentioned, the security concerns as they adapt to, getting better at security in the cloud, it becomes something they're more willing to embrace.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think as they get more comfortable with security, they'll look back on these days and say, do you remember when we had $1 million worth of hardware on-prem? So I think that migration is going to come over the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, you also mentioned analytics. How are law firms, getting themselves better acquainted with their data?
Certainly. I mean, there is a staggering amount of data and metadata within a law firm. I see IT really using some of the analytic platforms that are going to become available to really kind of gain user insight into the user interaction, not only within SharePoint, but within multiple systems. And we're going to be, we have announced a strategic partnership with Engage that will allow us to do that. And that's really going to help law firms to, drive user adoption, kind of increase that ROI and productivity, and also making sure that they're, improving governance, risk, and compliance within the firm. So you'll be hearing a little bit more about that in the coming months.
You also mentioned artificial intelligence and machine learning. What is going on in the legal space right now? What do we have to look forward to in terms of what the machines are able to teach us about our data?
Well, there certainly is a lot of buzz around AI right now, and I would say it's in its early stages. AI and machine learning promise to push the envelope in legal beyond its current capabilities. And as technology evolves and machines are taught to think more like humans, in a law firm, those opportunities are endless. For an attorney, this means, less time with mundane tasks and more time lawyering. What is really exciting is, we're already playing a major role in a number of these spaces, and we've developed and are currently developing a number of tools to help our clients succeed on these fronts. 2016,
Jeff, you've been here a year. What did you learn? What are your observations, and how does that define what you're working on now?
2016 was really a great year for us here at BA Insight. It's been great to step onto a team, really with a winning record and such a great reputation in the marketplace. I was joking recently, our headquarters are in Boston. In many ways, it's like being recruited to the New England Patriots. And,
be careful.
I know I have a few more. I know, right? But I think we can all agree that was a remarkable game, no matter what team you're pulling for. But, I feel like I've got a few more Super Bowls in me here, and I'm excited to be a part of this team. It's exciting. It's challenging and rewarding to be here. The expectations are very high for those of us that are on this team. And, exceeding customer expectations is really the standard. I'd say, 2016 was also a year where we've added some notable law firms to our client list. In the fourth quarter alone, we added 3 new AmLaw 50 firms, and I can say, 2017 is going to be even more exciting, and kind of just really finally our focus will really kind of continue to simplify our users' daily lives. And in my case, making attorneys, helping them be more efficient, helping them succeed. And, that's what technology should do, regardless of the industry you're in. And that's what we're focused on here at BA Insight. So it's been quite a ride. It's been a fun journey over the past 20 years. And, I'm thrilled to be a part of the BA Insight team. And, I'm excited to see what the next 20 years will bring.
This has been a fantastic conversation, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today to share a little bit more about what BA Insight is doing in the legal field. Where would you like to send people to want to learn a little bit more about your work?
Sure, yeah. If you just go to our website, bainsight.com, there's a section for legal, and there's a lot of resources there and a lot of the great work we're doing.
If people have questions for you specifically, should they just contact you on the website, or do you want to connect with you on LinkedIn? Any preferred way of connecting with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, or just go to our website and contact us, and I'll be sure to follow up.
Absolutely, and we'll put those links in the show notes. Just swipe up there on your mobile podcast listening device of choice, and you'll find all the show notes for this show. And again, thank you so much, Jeff Bodem, for joining us today. It's been a treat talking to you. I hope you will come back.
Absolutely, it's been a great time. Thanks, Pete.
Excellent, and thank you all for downloading and listening to this show. We sure appreciate your time and attention, learning a little bit more about BA Insight and our role in the legal industry. On behalf of Jeff Bodem, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next week right here on Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight.